What's going on here? Here you are. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, now this, in truth, is the most important session here at All That Matters and Music Matters, and let me tell you why. I'll just quote Leo Cohen, the famous head of YouTube Music: all roads lead to publishing, music publishing, and there's nothing in music or anything related with music without a song and a composer and a lyricist. So let me introduce, we've got a fantastic session here now, and first of all I'd like to introduce you to the head of Google Music Publishing, the CEO who runs all of it, a wonderful, wonderful professional by the name of Carletta Higginson. Carletta, why don't you take a seat in the middle there? She is great. Comes all the way from New York City, from Brooklyn. No sleep till Brooklyn, you know that famous Beastie Boys thing? Okay, next we have a real, true independent, somebody who has really proven himself over many years with the Ultra record label, really one of the great, great independent thinkers in the music business. Please welcome to the stage, Patrick Moxey. Patrick. And then last but by no means least, all the way from Canada, we're very, very proud and pleased to have with us somebody who is really probably one of the world specialists in Web3, or he's a Web3 guru. He also focuses on tech and problems to solve, particularly in music. He has an independent music company, record company, publishing company. His name is Mike Darlington from Monstercat. Mike, welcome. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, in this particular session, we thought, with the way that music is so important all over APAC, and the way that music, as we heard from Selena Ong, by the way, Selena, that was really so instructive to talk about the way that this particular part of the world is really introducing things that are going to be important for the future of developing talent. I'd like to start with you, Carletta, if we wouldn't mind. Just tell us a little bit about the work that you do, and particularly with Google Music, such an important company looking at the development of talent. Just give us a sense of what some of your key focuses are and how you work within the Google structure, which leads to the YouTube structure, which leads to the Alphabet structure. So give us the A to Z of Alphabet in Google and so on.
Certainly, I will. So to just start, so I head up YouTube Music Publishing globally. And so with respect to what I do, we handle the licensing of deals, but we're really invested in the songwriter and the songwriter and producers on the platform. And so in terms of our focus area, it's not only to do the deals, but it's to provide songwriter initiatives to really have a way for songwriters and producers to connect with users and the platform. There are a number of different initiatives that we're really excited about and working on right now. One of which, as we talk about, sort of innovation and products and where we're going, is our Creator Music Marketplace that's about to
Creator Music Marketplace.
Yes.
What's that?
So it is going to be a scalable licensing marketplace that allows our songwriters and producers, as well as artists, to be able to get music into a marketplace, basically a scaled sync licensing place. And it is going to be transformative and really allow the songwriters and producers to have their content available to a global audience in a way that they've never really been able to do before from a buyout perspective.
So here's the thing, YouTube and YouTube Music, obviously huge carriage all over the world. It's good to hear that YouTube is really giving priority to composers, lyricists, musicians who write songs, because clearly none of every online digital music can work without the songwriter, the songwriting, and so forth. And this Creator Music platform is going to be available in early 2023, correct?
It's going to be available in 2023. It's launching in beta in the US right now, but we do hope to have it available in APAC in 2023.
And tell us a little bit about this Songwriters Resources Hub that you're developing. I mean, this is an interesting thing, another tool to accelerate songwriting professionalism.
Yes, so we have launched a Songwriter Resources Hub on YouTube, so youtube.songwriters. And what it really is it's an educational platform to allow songwriters and producers and their representatives to have a way of understanding the tools that we have available, as well as the different ways that they can tap into, that songwriters and producers can tap into the platform. To build out channels, which we believe are really a visual discography for songwriters and producers. It puts a face behind the music that they're seeing. So in order to scale, and by the way, it's in 21 different languages, we've launched this resources hub, and it really provides, again, the opportunity to educate their representatives on really how to optimize their use of our platform.
So here's a question I've been meaning to ask for some time, and that is this. If one looks at YouTube music on a global basis, and let us just say you're a songwriter in Malaysia, or you're a songwriter in Indonesia, or you're in the Philippines, and you write in the Tagalog language and so forth, does YouTube music also look at summits or connecting people in person, or demystifying Google and the Google tools? Because sometimes when people are basically sitting at their computer or in their little studios writing their material, they think, maybe I can get my stuff on YouTube, maybe someone will pick up on it, maybe somewhere in the world someone will do it, like Bad Bunny have done, become the most important track on Spotify last year. Or like, for example, maybe there's an example that you found from a copyright that's really happened, and how publishing has helped to get something going in this part of the world.
So absolutely. What we have done and what we have worked on is we have our well-versed writing camps that we have set up, and we've done these virtually, and we've also done these in person. With respect to our well-versed writing camps, we have had people in the room, copyrights have developed out of it, including as recently as last weekend, we partnered with She Is the Music, and we held a writing camp in person. It was the first all-female writing camp. We partnered with She Is the Music, again, with heavy involvement from Universal Music Group in Ghana. And it was headlined by Thames as our anchor artist. And we hope to have copyrights come out of that. We've had writing camps in person via our Black Voices Fund. We've had virtual camps as well. And again, those have been great opportunities to have songwriters and producers actually produce copyrights that they own and that they have. In addition to that, in terms of having our songwriters and producers have a voice and a presence on our platform, we have our credits playlists. And these playlists are global playlists that are focused and dedicated to songwriters and producers and their catalogs on the platform.
Well, so you certainly are a human doing, not a human being in what you do. So just would also like to say that Carletta actually has won one of the great awards in America of top women in music in 2018 and 2020. So watch out, Carletta's about. She's great, just really terrific. Thank you so much. Good to hear that, and we'll come back to you in just a moment. Patrick, you've got such a distinguished career in terms of developing independent music. Of course, Ultra, and what you've done for a long time, and also Ultra Publishing, which is one of your focuses. Plus, tell us a little bit about Helix and your independent stance. And over the 16 months that you've been doing this, just give us some sense of how you operate, where you operate, your creative approach to the way that you develop the company.
Absolutely. Well, I think we really pride our operation on being very close to the music and the creation of music.
Yeah.
So having the label and the publishing so close together, maybe part of the inspiration was me being a 25-year-old going around to jive and zomba on 25th Street in New York. So in fact, I bought recently a floor of that building, which is now our New York HQ, and we have a studio in there. But yeah, this idea that the artist, the writer, the creation of the song, all of this is close to us, is integral to our operation. We have offices and studios in Los Angeles, in New York, in London, in Paris, Stockholm, and Atlanta. And we're really set up globally to create music with studios in all those cities. So basically with Helix, we're off to a great start. We started releasing records in May. here we are at mid-September, and we've had over 200 New Music Friday placements, multiple Apple Zane Low premieres, a lot of success across working with the YouTube team, and great videos with Rita Ora and other artists.
Oh.
And it feels like we're off to an incredible new run with Helix and continuing the run with Ultra Publishing.
So I noticed that you didn't mention any Asia-Pacific cities as yet, but what I would like to say is, in Indonesia, you're doing something that has really created quite a firestorm, where you've developed an Indonesian artist by the name of Deepa Baris. Tell us about Deepa Baris in Indonesia.
Absolutely. Tremendous talent.
What does he do?
A great DJ producer.
Right.
And working with him over the last few years, we've been able to bring him to LA to record.
Wow.
We've been able to get him together with some great top-line vocalists and singers and performers, and created a string of record releases for him as his publisher.
In English or in Bahasa or both?
These releases have been in English.
Right.
We've also done some great syncs with his music.
Oh, give us an example of how.
There's been 2 or 3. I'm forgetting exactly what it was, but I can tell you that our sync team's been well behind his music, and we've been able to really help him create a lot of music.
Right.
So we are in the process now of gathering more writers here in this region.
Right.
And we're very committed to growing Ultra Publishing's business in this region.
Fantastic.
And Helix Records in this region.
Incredible. And what styles are you finding when you've got your periscope and your telescope out there? What are you seeing in terms of musical textures that are worth looking at?
Well, certainly dance music and electronic music is what I know so well,
Right.
having been in it since Chicago in the 80s with Marshall Jefferson,
Oh.
all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Obviously this is something where dance and electronic music is a global language.
Absolutely.
So if you're in a club here in Singapore,
128 beats a minute,
the
and that's
beats
it.
are going to sound just as good as they will in Ibiza. So,
Right.
that is a global language. There are many talented producer, DJ artists from this area.
Right.
And we're working with several of these talents. And I think, that covers that, but I can tell you also, for having been out to a Def Jam showcase last night, it was great to see how deep and authentic hip-hop and R&B is in this area, which is great. And we publish a lot of the best hip-hop producers in the world.
Really?
Wheezy, who does a lot of work for Drake.
Who knows Wheezy?
Future.
Anybody here? Yes, there's some two Wheezys.
Okay. And Zaytoven is another
Zaytoven.
legendary producer in the...
Who knows Zaytoven here?
Okay.
Come on, wake up, wake up, wake up.
So I think it'll be interesting. These guys are producing, whether it's Gucci Mane, Migos,
Right.
Future,
Right.
Drake, 21 Savage.
Right.
It's Post Malone. So it'll be great to connect some of these guys with some of the rappers from this region.
Fantastic idea. Great to do it. Any key DJs that you've observed that are coming up, would be like the Martin Garrix of Asia Pacific or somebody like that?
Well, they're great people, obviously, like Mern right here from Singapore.
Oh, great.
Fantastic talent. And
Yes, someone knows him there, yeah.
100%.
Shout out.
Yes.
Oh, they're so quiet, I think they all went to sleep during lunch, but now they're waking up again. Thank God for that.
Yes. But there's plenty more to come as well.
Fantastic. And you've got this Cornwall writing camp. We bring writers together to write together, which also yields some interesting copyrights. And if I look, not just Bob Dylan selling his copyrights for $500 million, or Paul Simon for $300 million, or all of these incredible amounts paid, ultimately, the business is absolutely dependent upon songwriters. Where's the next Ed Sheeran coming from? Will he or she come from the Philippines?
Could be from Malaysia. Could be from very close to here. I mean, I think that's a great thing with the globalization of music, which had a little pause with COVID, but now we're back in full swing.
Right.
But I would say that we're playing a small role in this, working with artists from this region, having them work with producers and different writers from Los Angeles, and just plugging everyone more into each other to work in London, LA, and out here.
So here's a question for you and Carletta. I'm desperately looking for someone that is a great Tagalog lyricist and a great Bahasa lyricist. Would I be able to find someone working with yourselves and your companies that have got your tentacles into this part of the world?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, that sounds like a yes to me. Okay, very good. And this is a perfect segue for you, Mike Darlington. Mike, you started at Monstercat as a publishing company looking after social media and marketing to begin with. You were developing the community aspect specifically at Monstercat in Canada. Tell us the name of the town that you are based in.
Well, we're out of Vancouver now. When I was back in university, when we started putting together Monstercat, it was a small city called Waterloo.
So Waterloo is where BlackBerry was founded and developed, very important for mathematics graduates and people who didn't go to study at university but just wanted to be inside the club, in the club, so to speak. Your favorite genre when you were developing a lot of this stuff when you were still in Waterloo, but of course now you're in Vancouver, was future bass, correct?
It was definitely one of them.
One of them.
I think one of the things that was great about that region, it was all college market. So there were shows every night. You could really experience dubstep one night, trance another night, house music and techno on the next week after. So it gave you a really good viewpoint of what the electronic market could look like at a pretty young age for me.
So what is your focus now with Monstercat? Now that you're in Vancouver, are you primarily a publisher? Are you a tech development music company? Give us a sense.
Well, I'd say we're primarily a record label that has publishing services. I would say that for myself personally, though, it's like looking at the music industry as a whole, looking at it specifically dance music, and trying to identify where I see problems. And when I find those problems, I usually try to invest my time in trying to create solutions to those problems.
Right.
So I personally don't work on the music team. I oversee my directors and the music teams themselves, but why I wake up each day is really around innovation, problem solving, new technology, new forms of distribution, new media.
Great. So you're giving a focus here to Asia Pacific as well, obviously, because that has to be part of your developing future. And is there anything that you've discovered so far, or little tickles you're getting somewhere that will help you grow what you're trying to grow?
Oh, there's definitely been some tickles.
Getting some tickles.
No, guys, listen. Asia's been really important to our company for many, many years now. We've always had a team member living out in Asia, at one point in Beijing, now Singapore. But recently, I'm here actually right now to announce that we've opened up a full-time permanent office in Singapore.
Fantastic.
So we can further, continue investing
Round of applause,
talent
please.
out here.
Singapore!
Thank you, Ralph.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, we're stoked. This is an incredible city. I think it's a great hub for all forms of music, especially out of Asia, that seem to congregate here. And I have an amazing team that have come from some of the top companies who've worked in this region for a very long time now. So I'm just blessed to have amazing people around that hopefully are going to identify the next generation of electronic music talent that's coming out of Asia right now.
So Carletta, here are a couple of questions for you, which I think would be important, not only for this audience, but our streamed community that's watching all over the world. So we're really going global, and maybe even on the asteroid that's just been moved away from the path of the Earth. First of all, tell us about YouTube Shorts, because that's an important development hub for songwriters, although it's not just about video, it's really songwriters. And secondly, what kind of work are you doing with regional teams here in APAC?
Sure. So to start with, from a shorts perspective, I think that YouTube as a platform, we want to be here for all types of consumption. And so that's long form and that's short form consumption. And so we have seen the power of short form, and we've seen the difference between short form and long form, and short form being a sort of teaser into longer form content.
How long does a composer have to write something for a shorts usage?
So what happens is they write a song and we take snippets of that song.
How long is the snippet?
It depends. It varies in terms of what a user wants to use in the video. And so we make it flexible in order for a user to use, the amount of music with a certain threshold,
Right.
but the amount of music into their video, and to, allow that user to be really creative and to have attribution so that user can go from that short form content into that longer form content. Just having various ways for people to express themselves and for that music to, again, get before a global audience. I think in terms of
Regional teams?
exactly, your second question and regional teams, one of the things that we did even just last week is our team here in APAC hosted a summit where we had about 40 attendees from the region, so from the APAC region, come in and spend 2 days with us in person, where we really spent time sort of deepening the relationship, having those teams be there in person to connect, to understand our tools, to understand sort of the platform and better ways to use the platform and how to optimize their catalog on the platform. Understanding the complexity that is YouTube and the data that's involved. We really want our partners to understand how to use the platform and also to get to know us and the teams better. We are really invested into that relationship and to deepening our relationship with our partners. We've gone a pretty long time with COVID without having been able to really see people in person and spend that time, and it was just an incredible opportunity to have the teams there.
So Patrick, wanted to ask you about ape drums and Major Lazer. Major Lazer. Anyone here know of Major Lazer? Ah, good. They are in fact alive. Very good. We were wondering whether you were a bunch of cadavers out there, but you obviously are not. And also, you've got a hot French rapper by the name of.
Well, there's a number of them.
Yeah.
A hot French producer, Trackstorm. I'd like
Trackstorm.
Yeah.
Okay, please go for it.
So, well, I think, again, it's what we do as a publisher, bringing people together from
Very proactive.
different places. Exactly. So, for example, Ape Drums is a great producer.
Ape Drums.
Yes, he co-produces with Diplo. He's in the group Major Lazer.
Oh.
We publish Ape Drums.
Right.
And so they're, in fact, in Paris this week for Fashion Week doing some events,
Ooh.
Major Lazer events. But I just saw him at our Cornwall writing camp,
Right.
where we brought him from Miami to Cornwall.
In England?
Yes, to a stately home in the countryside. It was an amazing week.
Right.
We had 40 writers there from all over.
Oh,
the
you
US,
are proactive.
Yeah, it was amazing. We had people coming up from France, and we were able to create some amazing songs that week by putting the right environment around the writers, getting Ape Drums working with a lot of interesting English and European artists. So if there's anything we do, we love to kind of move people from A to B and have them write together and work together.
So how do you move them from A to B to APAC?
Okay, well, that's definitely something we've been doing across various artists such as Deepa Barris, Mern from Singapore. We brought him to work in our LA studios,
Right.
and we connected him, for example, with the singer Salem Ilse, where they wrote a great record together,
Right.
a strong record for his catalog. So again, we're already having putting into practice, let's say, on a grassroots level, moving writers and artists between countries to create more global, powerful music.
So we've heard from all three of you that you've got a strong focus in this part of the world in terms of the various countries. We didn't speak about Australia and New Zealand, obviously key development markets and territories for songwriters, for copyrights, for developing new music. But I want to just get one sentence from you before we close this particular session in terms of your priority and importance directed to Asia, Asia-Pacific, and the Asia-Pacific countries. How about you?
I'd say my priority is making sure that we're a part of this scene culturally, effectively. We're signing artists from here, we're bringing talent from North America here, and it's done in a way that, it culturally is respectful, it's cool. I want to make sure that if we're going to be here, we're going to do it right, and I want to make sure I have the right people around us to do that.
Patrick, your focus.
Focus for us, again, is having an organic connection with the writers and artists here. And that means, similar to what Mike is saying, it's not just one-way export traffic. This is about finding great talent here and being able to push it around the world. So it's a two-way street. It's an exchange of ideas. And we have already excellent people. Jules, our rep here on the ground, and others.
Is Jules in the audience?
I think so.
Jules, where are you?
Maybe she... Okay, there she is, yes.
Hey, Jules, stand up so people can see who you are. Go, Jules. Okay.
It's just, you know, it's not that far. Nothing is too far, whether you're coming from LA to Singapore, Singapore to LA,
right,
or to New York. There's direct flights, and
right,
it's time for us to do this.
Time to do it. Carletta, the lady gets the last word, but just one thing. Which of the black-eyed peas is from the Philippines?
Oh, that is a good question. I do not know the answer, but I do know.
Who knows the answer here in the audience?
Apple Diap?
Like, I do know one of them is from
Apple
the
Diap.
Philippines.
Okay, so last word from the lady.
So in terms of how we think about it, we have a platform. We are reaching 2 billion users a month. It's a global platform, but it's really a region-first approach with respect to how we think about it, how we think about our partners, how we think about our licensing, how we think about the teams and the relationships that we're building. We believe that, you know, from here, region first, you have the ability to connect with a global audience, and that's what's important.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it from the experts, the copyright architects, the copyright construction company, people that are making the hits that drive Spotify, that drive television, that drive advertising. So please give a wonderful round of applause to Mike Darlington, Carletta, Higginson, and of course Patrick. My name is Ralph Simon, and we hope you enjoyed this. And remember, it's the song that is the start of the journey to becoming a thrillionaire. Thank you.